Johnny,
Yo,
what is up?
all sorts of things.
You are
Oh
not.
my god.
You are not Jessica.
Yes, I am. I
Are
just got
you?
a deeper voice and changed my name.
Wow.
So I'm still getting this proper.
It always takes a minute to get shit set up right.
Mm-hmm. All right. Oh shit.
Frosty and D-Man. D-Man on site, ready to go.
Oh, that's nice.
Let's see. Let's see.
Oh my god, what was that?
That was a pencil sharpener. I go old school.
Yeah, because you're old.
Wow.
I don't know. What else? I had to say something.
All right. I'm not sure how to take that bullshit.
Well, you're older than some people,
That's
but
true.
younger than some buildings.
Wow. I'd kick you right straight in the nuts. So in case anyone missed my late update, I might have to repeat this once or twice, but Jessica had some personal stuff come up and she needs a minute. So she had some stuff to take care of. I mean, I don't know, she might pop in here and just say hi, but she wasn't going to be able to make this. So I had to find somebody. And the brother, fortunately, was willing to represent.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. Johnny, that's an iPad, right?
Yes, it
Do
is.
you work on there?
Do I work on there? That's all I work on.
Quote unquote work. Frosty man, how's it going? My day's been kind of boring actually, but that's no one's fault but my own. I spent it doing almost nothing.
All right. I think I'm set up now. Jesus, this thing is like right in my face.
Your phone?
Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah. Yeah, it's like straight up, it's so you're on from a weird angle. So I try to find things to work on that I don't have to be extremely precise on. So
Yeah.
fuck it up.
Yeah, I was looking through my stuff. I'm like, what am I going to work on? I guess like I got a page that I can ink, so that way I don't have to get like too like with my face right in it.
Right. Pull up one of your pages from your newest issue of Blood Moon where there's titties on it.
No, because you have to pay for that.
Oh, right. That's just one panel. It's just you gotta pay for that shit.
Oh boy. Yes, I am a digital inker just like Chuck Gibson. He and I are basically the same when it comes to digital art. I can't even say that without laughing at myself.
He sent me a new page today.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'd send it to you, but you never respond, so.
Well, I mean, that's true. Join the club. My wife says the same thing. Like, if you don't fucking answer me, I'm like, well, baby, I'm too busy. I don't know, not answering people.
Too busy. You had a busy day.
A big day.
Right. Well, thanks for stopping in, Frosty. I know it's super late. So thanks for stopping and saying hi. I know these late ones are a struggle for some people. And
But, stay frosty.
How's your little baby?
Well, he's good. We took him to took him on a walk at a dog park, and then went to a playground, which was so cute because he like went up and down, like he kind of basically went down a slide for the first time,
Yeah.
and then that's all he wanted to do. He like it was like a discovery that he made, and then he wasn't afraid of it, and then he kept going up the stairs and going down, and so it was like really really cute, and then he wanted to go on like even the bigger slides that kind of twisted.
Yo, that's tricky.
And the wife was like, I don't know about that. I'm like, I'll let the boy figure it out. Like forget the bloody nose. He's only 19 months old, but
I was gonna say he's just a little over a year, right?
yeah, he's a year and a half.
God damn, where does that time go, dude?
I don't know. It's like getting to the point where I can like comfortably sleep at night again.
It's magical.
Yeah, like he basically sleeps, like he goes down at like 8:30 at night and really well. Like he just like plops him like tonight. We're like it's bedtime, so he grabs his little blankie, which has Grogu from the Mandalorian on it, and he
Yeah.
like drags it in, and he like we just lay him down, and he flips over onto his stomach, and he just falls asleep, and he sleeps usually till 7:30 or 8 a.m. So.
Cute little guy.
But then, like last week, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to stay up late and I'm going to play some video games that I haven't done in a while. Because and go to bed around midnight. Um, so like then he'll get up, but then that's the night he decided to wake up at like 5:30.
Little bastard.
Yeah, I'm like, you son of a bitch.
How's it going? Ghetto and Vector Overlay says, nice, you made it. Going to draw with you all. That's awesome. Grant Lankard says hello. Says I do like the art. Well, thank you. I'm kind of hyped for Deadpool 3, Mr. D man. I know you're a cynical man, and I respect it. I'm with you there on most things, but the trailer looked interesting enough to me, so I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if you got to listen into the last one me and Jess did, but we were talking about I finally actually watched the Marvels.
Yeah.
Not horrible. Not
No,
great.
no, it's not horrible, not great. And I think what I had said, because I watched it twice. I watched it by myself, and then I'm like, the wife would like this. She's always liked Captain Marvel, and she'd like the first one, and she's not like a comic book person or whatever, but she enjoyed it. So she's like, hey, come watch this one. You might like it. So we went and saw it again. And I'm like, I know what's wrong with this movie. It's like it had no first act.
Yeah, you talked about that. That actually, I mean, I was kind of looking for it because you'd said that, but I didn't feel that it was that big a deal. I get what you're saying, but um I didn't see it as a big deal, but I understand what you were saying about I can see how you were getting there, but I
Yeah.
mean, there's a couple of stupid moments. Me and the roommate were like, "What is this singing planet part? This is so stupid." And then the cat part devouring people, I thought that was so stupid. But
Really? Those are the parts that I actually like enjoyed in a like this is so silly that I'm kind of into it.
yeah, I get what you're saying. Brie Larson, I mean, I got to give credit where credit's due. Not that this matters, but man, she's kind of hot.
Oh yes,
And I liked
for sure.
her little braid thing on the one side, and she looked great in that skin tight outfit. And she wasn't like this insufferable, like arrogant jerk off character like they always portrayed her to be. She was kind of like kind of like a normal person. So
Yeah,
I enjoy it. I don't think I'll ever watch it again, but
right.
I didn't hate
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I haven't like rewatched it even on Disney Plus since it came out. Um, yeah, that outfit, that dress she wore in that singing part, that
Yeah,
Captain Marvel dress, I really liked. There's this girl who I know, this woman, she's a cosplayer. I met at the Comic Con I did a commission for her, not this last time, but the time before that. And I forget her name, but her and I follow each other, and she like came and visited me at the last convention. But she's a big Captain Marvel fan. She's a big Wonder Woman fan. She's a big She-Ra fan. And she always does those cosplays. And she's like, "Ooh, like I have to make that." Like she makes her own like outfits. She's like, "I have to make that Captain Marvel dress."
You're like, you are right. You should.
Mm-hmm.
And then send me
Oh
pictures.
shit! No.
But yeah, the Deadpool 3, I mean, I wasn't like thinking it was going to be bad by default because it's with Disney Marvel now, but Disney Marvel current stuff isn't particularly exciting. But Ryan Reynolds is still involved, and they said it was still going to be R-rated. So I'm like, all right, there's a chance. And the trailer, I was like, all right, yeah, I'm interested enough.
Right. Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you be? If you like the other ones, then you should like this. I mean, you should be excited for it, whether it's good or not.
I mean, we'll see, but
Yeah.
It's got enough to make me not go, well, that'll definitely suck.
Right.
I'm not thinking that. So I'm hoping we'll see. We'll wait and see.
So what's going on with your picture?
What?
What's going on with your drawing? What do you like? Is that that's an interior picture, right? That's not like
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if you wouldn't be able to identify what this is kind of an homage to. It's similar-ish, but a little bit.
I would guess it's a X-Men Phoenix thing.
Well, no. I mean, that's not a bad guess. But there's a page from an issue of WildC.A.T.s that Jim Lee did that I took some of the poses from, but I have more characters in my page than he did on his. So I had to add a few, and I changed up the poses a little bit, but it's sort of kind of homage-ish.
What
The
what
cover
issue was that?
too, and that also had an interior page that was almost the same as the cover. Remember the shiny silver foil cover where Void is in the dead center? She's teleporting all the characters.
Yeah, what number was that? Was that early on?
Issue 2.
Oh, did you say that? You cut out for a second. Oh, WildC.A.T.s.
Yeah, but this is I'm kind of excited because I was about to say, starting from here, there's going to be a bunch of stuff going on that I'm super excited to do, which kind of would imply I haven't been excited for the stuff I've just done, which is not the case because I'm at a point where I haven't felt otherwise in the entire book, but every scene that's in the book is important. You know what I mean? It's like even if I stop the action shit, I'm going to spend a bunch of pages showing these characters' interactions and do some character building. It's important to get that character building for the payoff that's coming up down the road. But from here, this is the team gathering to head off to go to the final battle where all the big culmination of everything, and I mean everything, happen. And this is like a big group shot. You have all of the 8 main characters together. So it's kind of exciting.
Gotcha. It's kind of nuts that after what happened in your last book, fighting those huge monsters, that's not like the main climax of the book. Like you got a bigger threat going on.
Yeah, and I wanted that to feel epic, and that was the end of they showed up in some fighting at the end of the last book, and then I completed that battle in the beginning of this one, and then some scenes have everyone kind of recover from that battle, and there's something even bigger and crazier coming, and as long as if Chuck is still going to be on board for to go towards the end, there's stuff. I think the pages will come out really good. Very excited.
So how many pages is he inking for? Is he the inker on the rest of the pages, or is he just like
it's not
Ones here and
whittled.
there.
It's not whittled. It's not worked out to like an exacting thing. He just says, "Send me some pages." Then he got done. He said, "Hey, I'm done. Send me more." So I send him a batch more. Like these ones I'm doing here. Like I have he's inked 10, and I sent him 6 more, and
Oh,
then I got 4 pages. This is one of 4 that I'm going to be inking just because he's got a bunch in hand. So I'm going to pencil and ink these just to kind of get that all moving. So I'm not handing him everything. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So, but I have 10 completed pages and 6 more in hand, which he sent me one of today. I'm happy to kind of have him do whatever he wants. I just don't want to ever have
yeah,
him like I'm ungrateful or taking advantage of his time and his efforts. And so I also am like trying to what will be like the funner ones? What will be some of the more exciting ones? I'll handle some of the more bland stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah. Hmm.
But Grant Lankard in the chat says, I can't hear the word Wildcats without hearing that theme song stuck in my head. So, fortunately for me, I only ever watched the opening theme song to the Wildcats cartoon once and watched about 10 minutes of one of the episodes and turned it off, never went back.
Yeah.
I was like,
Um,
fuck that. This is horrible.
yeah, I don't think I ever watch any of the cartoons, so I have no idea. Whenever I hear Wildcats, I think of The Simpsons, that one episode where they were like all like they were playing Kiwi football or something, and Ned Flanders was the coach, and he's like, "Who are we? The Wildcats. Who are we gonna beat? The Wildcats." The other team's name was Wildcats too, because everyone names their team Wildcats.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, so I never watched the cartoon, but I did play the Super Nintendo game for a brief second.
Oh, God, you're right. There was a super. Holy shit, that sucked.
Yeah, it was I could, I mean, it was recent that I had played it. Like I had downloaded it. Well, not downloaded it. I hacked like that mini SNES that I had to add like a whole bunch of games onto it. And that was one of them. I'm like, well, why not? I'll just throw it on there and see what it's like. And it was like
Yeah.
so boring. Like you could be Spartan, Warblade, or a Maul. I'm like, those are the fucking boringest characters. Like, I don't want to be any one of them. And then it was just not fun at all. So
Well, it's not like Voodoo could do anything
yeah,
or
but
Amp.
yeah, but I mean, you want to play Grifter, you want to play Zealot. I always called her Zealot back in the '90s
Really?
because I didn't really. I mean, I think I was too young. I'm like, what to know what the word Zealot was.
What's funny is I remember, like, out of all those new image books and all the characters, Jim Lee's were the ones where I'm like, I don't know what these. I didn't know what a grifter was. I didn't know what a zealot was. I didn't know
Yeah,
at the time what a Spartan was, what
right.
EMP means, and then Warblade and Maul kind of. All right. I'm gonna get those.
Voodoo, you've heard that word.
Like, all right, sure, but all these grifter, zealot. I'm like, what? Spartan? What's a Spartan?
Yeah.
But to be fair, that's also through comics. I learned a lot of words,
Oh yeah.
phrases that I never, that's where I learned them from, especially Claremont's X-Men stuff. He used phrases that I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? But I learned it.
Right. Yeah. I remember seeing the word mystique,
Yep.
and I pronounced it for a long, like wrong for a long time in my head, because I was a kid. And I'm like, I don't know how to read this. I thought it was Mystic-Q.
Yep. I mean, how do you know if you don't know?
Yeah. Until I had an older brother who made fun of me for saying it out loud. And I'm like,
Yeah, that
right
was
in
me.
my room.
Straight to your
Ah,
face.
could have been you. Could have been the other one.
I remember actually doing it. I very specifically remember making fun of you for saying the word Mystic-Q because I was like, you
Yeah.
fucking idiot. And I was like, I look back
Yeah.
on him, you were like 7 or something. I don't know how old the fuck I was. Like, I was
You son of a
um,
bitch.
Grant says, which was worse, the Wildcats cartoon or the Savage Dragon? I actually only ever watched 5 seconds of Savage Dragon because the Savage Dragon was my favorite image comic for so long. and I watched some of it. I'm like, this is not even 10% of what the comic actually is. I understand Eric Larson probably did it because it was another good way to get a little cash flow, but I kind of can't help it. Like, no matter what, I feel like what I was gonna say. I'm kind of editing myself as I say it. That McFarlane felt like he was the only one who gave a fuck about quality control.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Spawn movie was not very good at all, but I feel like they were kind of trying, and a movie is much more out of his control. But he gave a shit about like those action figures. He wasn't going to release anything that looked like shit. But Jim Lee put out a crappy Wildcat show. Eric Larson let a crappy Dragon show go. But he flat out says, I don't care about the cartoon. That's just cash flow so I can continue doing the comic. But don't you kind of run the risk of tarnishing your brand?
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. And now they can't make a Savage Dragon Saturday morning cartoon faithful to the comic because, good God, would that be the greatest cartoon in the history of ever? Um, if they just did a cartoon, like an animated series that was exactly the same tone as the Dragon comic was, because that
Yeah.
would be fantastic. Um, but yeah. And then there was a Cyber Force in works for a while. Liefeld has that like a little, I don't know, 60-second promo he paid $800,000 for a Youngblood cartoon that never went anywhere. That looked actually kind of interesting.
Yeah. Wasn't there for Cyberforce going to be a I think I read it in like when I did my review of like his sketchbook that has like the really horrible um quality printed pages on it.
Right.
Like there's something like he did some sketches or like something for a movie that never got made.
There's some storyboards in some of these comics where it's like for a proposed in-work Cyberforce cartoon that never happened. In
Hmm.
fact, think about it. I think they were gonna do it on, if I remember correctly, there's something about they're gonna do it on Fox to kind of run it around the same time as X-Men, but then someone else took over Fox and killed the deal, and it never happened.
Huh.
Which it could have been interesting, but it would have been like a neutered down pussy version. Not that Cyberforce was exactly like adult or anything, but I don't know.
It was adult enough the way he draws.
Right? Wish they would be more adult. Grant says, "Remember the Witchblade TV show?" Man, I was so disappointed in that. In fact, I've got a review of Witchblade issue 4 coming out tomorrow, and man, that Witchblade show, they should have never done it because they couldn't even come close to representing the weapon the way that it was in the comics. Like, not even close. She just wore like a suit of like medieval armor.
Yeah, I remember that. Like it was I remember hearing that it was you're not gonna see the Witchblade do its like crazy shit like it does in the comics, you know. But you're gonna see in the pilot episode or whatever that you should is gonna be like fully on her, but it
Right.
was nothing. And then I don't think it ever really did anything again. It
Well,
was just the watch
they
or
did say that. They did say that you will see her in her full Witchblade armor one time, and it was a fucking medieval suit of armor. I was
yeah.
done. I'm out. Fuck that shit. Uh,
Yeah.
Vector Overlay says, I'm blown away with the Invincible cartoon on Prime. 100%. I mean, that's adapting a show the way it's supposed to be done. It is so faithful to the original comics. It's unbelievable. I'm sitting here watching it going, because I've read every issue of Invincible. And I'm like, I know exactly where this is going. And it's not ruining anything for me knowing where it's going. It's a whole new experience to get to see it happening in real time with all this incredible, like, violent, murdering, like, awesome shit that they do. So I am super on board with the Invincible thing. I don't think you're not, right, Johnny?
No, I watched like five episodes or something, and I didn't dislike it. But again, since I had read the comics, I'm like, I do know what's happening, and I just I don't know. My time is extremely like limited of what I can watch and what I can do with having my kid, and then like my wife and I usually like watch stuff together. So when I get time just to watch something by myself, if I'm just not like 100% like into it, I'm moving on pretty fast.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so
No,
so
I'm
since I wasn't like blown away because like I knew what was coming on, I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but I'm like, I know what's happening here. I just kind of stopped watching it.
well, that's lame. I get it, but so I'm enjoying the hell out of it. So yeah, looking forward to where it keeps going.
Yeah, I haven't watched Gen V either. I
What's
stopped watching. I mean, I watched The Boys, but I'm not like too crazy into that either.
what's Gen V?
Spin off of The Boys, like Gen V. Do you ever watch The Boys?
No.
Oh, it's like this. Oh God, it's somebody else
I,
in the chat can probably explain it better than I
I
can.
know
But
what it is. I'm aware of the comic and I've seen a lot of
it's
articles about it and all
it's
that type of
it's
stuff.
like this like a serum or something that can give people powers. Um, it's called like Gen V. You take like a dose of Gen V, and you can like have superpowers of some kind. I think someone correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, they made a spin-off show called that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I keep hearing The Boys is good, but I've read like one or two issues of the comic and it was fine, but I don't know. I've kind of had my fill of like here's superheroes, but they're just horrible, monstrous people. Um, I've
Yeah, here's an evil Superman. Like, yeah, I get
yeah,
it. I've watched Invincible or read Invincible.
and I'm sure it's good. I don't have any interest. I don't give a shit. I don't want to see it. Now maybe if I were to turn it on and watch it, I might be like, oh, all right, this is actually really fucking good. But I don't care. So
I mean, I do like Carl Urban in
yes,
his role, and he's really good. He makes me want to watch it. Um, he's just funny, and like he uses his accent is just really good. But I'm kind of over the same with you, like that kind of superhero. But it's they do like I'm not against violence at all. Like I
yeah,
fucking blowing off a head right here, right?
yeah,
And I put, wow, that was so so violent. It says here. My wife says like she's like he should say that. Um, but so I'm not against violence, but like sometimes in The Boys, it's just gratuitous, like too much gratuitous violence just for like shock value. You
yeah,
know, I'm like, look, we're violent. That's why like I wasn't into the Suicide Squad movie, the second one. I mean, I didn't like the first one really either, but the second Suicide Squad movie by James Gunn is just like very violent and like look at all this shooting and these heads exploding and there's blood everywhere and it just looks fake and stupid. I'm like, cool, I guess it's funny. I don't know. That's me. So Boys is the same thing. I've watched 3 seasons of it, but I don't know if I'm going to continue.
oh wow, that's a long investment of time to watch 3 seasons of a show and be like, I might be done.
Yeah, I mean, my wife Lori and I, my wife, we watched it together the first 2 seasons, and she dropped out. She's like, I can't, like, I'm done with this. I don't need it anymore. And um, I think I only watched the third season because um, the guy who plays Soldier Boy, like a version of Captain America, was played by Jensen Ackles, who was in Supernatural.
Yeah.
And I really liked him as an actor, and I like that show, that Supernatural show. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to watch it for him, and he's funny in it, but I don't know if I'm going to continue.
Yeah. Speaking of stuff you and I both love, you certainly seem to be enjoying yourself with your Transformer review.
Oh yeah, so
Your
fun.
Transformer
Well, and I wasn't meaning to
singing
like.
along and doing the dialogue, and you're like, God, now I want to watch this show.
Yeah, and that was not my intention. Like, I had like a free afternoon, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. I have like 2 hours, and I'll just like bust out something. And I was looking through my stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I found these like Transformers animated, and I'm like, I'll look at them, and I don't need to like, I know what I don't need to remind myself what it was because I've seen the movie. And then I started going into it. I'm like, oh, now I have to do the voices, and I have to explain everything that they did wrong. And then I got really excited, and then I've watched the movie like twice since then.
I've actually I started playing the soundtrack at work, like on my when I can listen to music. I was like, I'm listening to the score. You got me kind of thinking about it.
Yeah, I was watching it with my son. I had JD, my kid, sitting on my lap, and he was watching it with me the other day. And then Lori, my wife, she comes in and she's kind of watching the end, and she has no interest in it. But then like she hears the music, right? The song that you got the touch. And she's like, John, I know this song because you play it all the time.
Yep.
Wait, what happened to DMX?
Hasn't he been dead for a while? Or am I thinking of someone else?
You could be right. Yeah.
No, that's not the Goblin Queen, Sean Croft. It's just full covering. She's not undressed, but I guess it could kind of look like that. I see how you could see that, but no, this is just it's like dark blue spandex and then white in the midsection here. But I could make her naked. I could. I just had a few little details, and then
yeah, just do it right now. Yeah, there you go.
right.
Oh.
All right. It's not digital where I can just do it and then undo it.
I know, it's so nice. I go, and then nope.
Never mind. But yeah, we need to get together and do commentary on that.
Yeah, the movie. Yeah, D. He was like, I want to be part of that because like at least I could tell you all the names of the Transformers that you kept forgetting.
Right. I kept going like, it's this dummy. But you know what it's like to be in the moment. You're like, I know this.
Yeah, I knew Ratchet, I knew Blitzwing. There were some others that I didn't know. Like, I forgot the names of the guys that that RC was dragging in at the missile launcher.
Wind Charger and Wheeljack.
See, I didn't know. Yeah, I think I knew Wheeljack. I didn't know Wind Charger, but I was talking with D, and he was telling me all of them. He's like, yeah, that's this, and this one is that, and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And then I had made some new observations about that movie, which I guess I can wait when we actually do the commentary to mention.
Right. And then I was thinking it would be fun to. I mentioned this, but again, you didn't ever respond. But it'd be fun to maybe even on occasion do some episodes of Beast Wars for the connection to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody was like, do them all. Do every episode.
Yeah, I did see the one guy did that.
Like, it would be nice for us to be able to do more together, but we just, we don't live next door to each other. It's a little bit of a drive, and finding time to do so much is almost impossible.
Grant Linkard, thanks for stopping in. Says it's taken off. Lanny 120 says he can draw better. Okay, good for you. Oh, okay. He says he's just kidding. All right.
Jesus.
I mean, maybe you can. I don't know.
Like the shoddy. Yeah. And he's gonna in this scene, he's fighting a werewolf, right? And spoilers, these werewolves can't really die from a silver bullet. So our hero has to find new creative ways. So he takes a shotgun, puts it right in his head, and says a line from Aliens.
Eat this.
Ooh.
Even, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
You're like, yeah, it is.
it really, really is. So, you excited for Dune?
Oh my God. So
Who are you
excited.
going with?
Just my roommate. Just because we've had our tickets for like a month.
Yeah, someone was like, John, if you're gonna get tickets, you got to get them now. They're going fast. I'm like, are they though? And then I looked today. I'm like, there's so many tickets. Like, this is like, I mean, it's a big movie, right? You know, and it's gonna do well, but it's not like the Avengers.
Yeah.
And people aren't going to see going to the theater as much anymore.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the thing is, they will for the right movie. I mean, I will never watch Barbie, but it made like $1 billion. There is clearly an audience that's willing to go to the theater. Or just a couple years back, Top Gun Maverick. Everybody went and saw that movie. So I mean, I know this. It's not like I'm trying to contradict what you're saying because people aren't going as casually as they used to be. But when there's a movie people want to see, they will show up. And I really hope people show up for this one because I want to see it continue. Like, I want it to be successful. I think it's going to be more successful than the last one because it was kind of like an untested kind of thing, and it was kind of released at a rough time. But
mhm,
all the reviews on it are just overwhelmingly positive.
yeah.
Like, very like, holy crap, this is amazing. So I'm very hopeful for it. I haven't been this excited for a movie in, I can't end game probably.
Hmm.
I mean, I've seen
Um,
other movies that have been good, but
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't like it. I didn't enjoy it as much as you or um our friend Travis. Like, he's so excited.
yeah,
But I enjoyed it enough. I enjoyed it the second time more when I rewatched it.
yeah,
And we're planning on rewatching it because we're going on Saturday because I got a thing on Friday night. But during the day on Saturday, he's going to come over. We're going to rewatch the first one and then go to the movie.
yeah. I want to rewatch the other one, the first one, pre going to see it. Um, Jai Deep says, John, you love werewolves.
I don't really.
You're part of the story.
They are just a plot point, honestly, and I mean, they're kind of easy to draw because you can just like when you do fur, you can just kind of do a bunch of lines. You know, you don't have to be so exact with like muscles or clothing or something at times. So they're a little bit easier, but I'm not like a werewolf fan.
Yeah.
I don't even know why. I have to rethink, like, why did I want to do this story to begin with?
Johnny, we've got a good question somebody posted here. User Fart Inhaler Slam Poetry
I love it.
asks, would you rather have a live action ThunderCats movie or a live action He-Man movie?
Oh God.
Yeah, that's what I was at. Well, I'll let you answer first if you would like.
Um, God, like I could only have. Let me. I'm trying to think what would translate better. Like I personally like ThunderCats more, you
Yeah.
know, but I almost think a He-Man movie would probably be better if, we're saying hypothetically it's done right.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm thinking a He-Man would be.
I agree. It'd be easier to translate.
Yeah.
Here's my problem with the ThunderCats. um I'm worried that people will, like, I've seen these versions where they make them look like with like cat features, like cat noses and
Yeah.
mouths. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's not what they look like. They are human beings looking creatures with pointed teeth and pointed claw fingers. You know what I mean? Ears on some of them.
Yeah.
Anthro have pointed ears. So
Yeah, no, that was something I was thinking too. I'm like, if like seeing it in live action, like would they try to make him look too alien-esque or too feline, you know, where they
And
should
it
just
was
be humans with like
fake. Yeah.
fangs and maybe kind of a, I don't know, like fingers are kind of claw-like, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
That would be the worst thing that they could do. And He-Man, I want to see him like take an approach of like a almost like a Lord of the Rings,
yeah,
but with the sci-fi kind of addition to the whole lore. Um, yeah. So I agree with you. I think He-Man, and I guess I would rather see a He-Man, but I would honestly be happy either way. But I think He-Man would be way easier.
yeah. Um, right. I mean, do you remember that YouTube video where it was a ThunderCats like mock trailer where it had like Brad Pitt as Lion-O and Vin Diesel Panthro? Do you remember that?
Ew, I kind of forgot about it, but absolutely.
Like that was done really well, that mock-up trailer, and I showed it to my buddy Cody, and he thought it was real. And he's like, "Oh my god, I can't wait for this."
Like, no, it's not real, sir.
Yeah, I had to dash the hopes of somebody on on Facebook, one of my friends. I forget what it was that she thought and was like a movie poster, but I'm like, no, I'm like that's a fake poster. That's not a real thing. She's like, oh my god, no.
Well, just a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, there was some fan created fake Marvel poster with all these characters grouped together, including Tony Stark as Iron Man. And I got into a little bit of not a debate, but an argument with this dum dum. I'm like, this is not real. Like, it's absolutely real. Just Google it, look it up. I'm like, no, this is nothing that's happening. This is a
Yeah,
created taking Photoshop images of all the characters and making something that looks good, but this is not. And they're like, you just wait. When it comes out, you'll understand. I'm like,
yeah.
sure.
Don't you wish you had that like guys inform like that? Remember who he was and be like, remember when we had that argument?
Oh man. Yeah, Sean Croft says He-Man would definitely translate. Thundercats can end up being a CGI mess. Um, let's see. Uh, I don't know what he says here. Could be more realistically more grounded because you have a lot of human characters besides the more far out characters. You know, we're talking about dummies that say stupid stuff and you wish you could remember. I think I told you about this, but a couple like right
The
before
Star Trek thing.
the start, yeah. There was some dummy that was online. We were there's on a Facebook forum. We were all talking about what we want to see in Picard season 3, and I mentioned I'm like, I just want to see the saucer section of the Enterprise D in some museum. Like they had to have gone and picked it up. And this guy's like, nope, absolutely not. They couldn't do it. It was unsalvageable. Just listen to Captain Picard's dialogue in the movie. He says it was unsalvageable. I'm like, sure, it can't fly, but they can't leave it there. And it's not too hard to imagine they could lift it off the surface of the planet. And then I was like, they could honestly fix it up. They
Yeah,
could fix it up and then blah blah. And he's like, absolutely not. And I was like, I'm like, you don't know that. He's like, I absolutely know it. You're just stupid. You don't understand Star Trek. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a fool if you believe that. And I literally said, well, in about a year, because the show's coming back, we will see. And when that moment happens, I hope you remember this moment in our conversation. And I ended up being exactly right. And
you were actually more right than you wanted. Like it wasn't in a, like they brought the whole thing back and fit it
well,
on something
it
else.
was
Like
literally lifted off the planet, put back in a repaired and put in a fleet museum. But they also reattached it to another component and made it fly again, which I didn't like. I kind of thought that would be interesting for them to do, but I didn't think they'd go that far. God, I wish I could find that chuckle I had and be like, hey, big mouth, you remember when you were so 100% certain you told me I'm a fucking clown? Well, guess what?
yeah. There was a time I was one of my friends and she was dating some guy and I didn't like the guy, right? He was kind of stupid. But we were talking nerd stuff and he was like one of those guys who thinks he knows stuff but doesn't. And this was years ago, like 15 years ago, right? I'm still holding on to this. And he was saying, we were talking about like Transformers was coming out or something, you know. He's like, he basically said there was a Voltron movie coming out, you know, like,
Yep.
and I was like, no, I don't think there is. Like, yeah, there is. And I knew 100%, like, no, there isn't. I was like on the forums of like, you know, like JoeBlow.com, you know, and movie stuff, like every single day. Like I would know if like there was something being filmed. But I was just kind of like, maybe I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Like I didn't push it. And then I was like, why didn't I fucking push it? Why didn't I tell him he was stupid? You know, he didn't know what he was talking about. And there's no Voltron movie.
Yeah. Some people, they're just so absolutely certain. Like, yeah, it is. It absolutely is. Our mom shared a picture. I don't know if you saw of like this Firefly movie that was coming out.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, Mom, just look at it. It's the worst. It's the worst photoshopping I've ever seen. And one, they're not going to have a movie that far into production where it's like, here's a release date coming up in a couple of months and never heard about it. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Be so gullible, Mom.
Yeah, Sean Croft, you're talking about ThunderCats. Characters are all well fleshed out, and they run to like 58 deep, so it is not like 100 or so characters. Yeah, but 5 to 8 deep characters.
Yeah.
Like He-Man has a lot of characters.
But the thing is, you don't have to have all the characters. All you have to do is just have the core group and
Yeah.
interesting. And then you can introduce more. But you gotta have He-Man, Tila, Man at Arms, the Sorceress, Orko, and the Cat, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you gotta have the bad guys, Skeletor, Trapjaw, Evil Lyn,
Yeah.
Merman, I guess. And then just off you go.
And then you introduce new characters like Blade and whatever the fuck their names were.
Oh God. Oh yeah. There was, God damn it, now I can't remember the name of those from the movie.
Yeah, now who's stupid?
Me.
Can't even remember so and so's name.
Now who's stupid? If they could have the movie come out tomorrow, who would you cast? Are you talking the ThunderCats or the He-Man? Or both? I'm bad at casting because honestly,
Yeah.
like this person would be awesome, but I'm like, sometimes an actor who you would never ever ever think would be good in the role would actually turn out to be great, or maybe some unknown. Just have it somebody unknown. But
I mean, they got to be physically fit. I mean, you got to have like a big, tough, like big, muscular guy. That's why like Dolph Lundgren was not a bad choice.
physically,
He-Man.
Yeah. He just should be on there in He-Man. He should have just been like, if he dies, he dies. I defeat all men. So yeah, he's asking He-Man if we could cast it. I mean, I don't have an answer to that. Chris Hemsworth to play He-Man, a big, huge, tall. He would never do it, but
Yeah, he would be a definitely good one. I mean, I think that's the obvious answer for sure.
Yeah. Have you seen him in costume? I guess they're making a movie about Hulk Hogan.
Yes, I have not seen the pictures. I do know he was doing that. And he was getting fucking ripped. That's why part of the reason why he was so big for that god awful Thor movie.
Dude, he looks so accurate to the real guy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, was he? I'm like, holy shit, that looks exactly correct. And so I'm like, I hope they get, because I actually like these movies that are like biopics or whatever, where it's the real life story of so and so. Like, tell me the real story of this person, the good and the bad. And I want to see the Hulk Hogan story, honestly. Relive those old days and show us, like, I want to see him get in the ring in the movie and have them have cast somebody to play Macho Man. He's like, ooh, yeah, and have a,
Oh yeah.
you know what I mean? Just have, I want to see all of that. So I'm kind of actually super interested in that movie if it turns out good. I hope.
I got a cat in my way again.
You got a pussy.
Rusty making an appearance.
But yeah, it's hard to cast.
Oh, good.
And I don't have suggestions. Oh, Mr. Key.
I gotta put my camera back. Okay, Rusty, Jesus. He is a very pushy cat.
Attention seeking kitty.
Yeah. Oh my God, buddy, you fucked up my camera.
Then my roommate's like, I was wondering when the cat would come out and play.
Oh my God, he is so muddy. What the fuck?
He's a muddy kitty.
Putting your face right in the dirt.
Yeah. What's the problem?
I'm a cat.
MT says hello. Thanks for joining up. I was watching earlier today, Johnny. I was watching a live stream from this other artist. Guy's a pretty successful artist. He's worked for major companies. Jimmy Reyes is his name.
Uh-huh.
I jumped on there and was watching him do his live stream, going over his art. He does instructional stuff. He's running a Kickstarter. It's being pretty successful. He's really, really, really good. And he's doing professional work. And I jumped in and I just kind of sent it like, hey, what's up? And he's like, oh, hey, Rob Norton. Hey, man. And then he's like, hey, everybody, you should go check out his stuff. Him and his brother do this He-Man fan comic. One of the first videos I saw was they were just talking about one of the books and it was really interesting and blah, blah, blah. And I wish they were doing the He-Man cartoon, not Kevin Smith. And I'm like, oh, shit. That was
wow.
Very awesome of you to shout out. So I sent him a little super chat. I sent him a few bucks and said, thanks for the shout out, brother. That was really, I appreciate that a lot.
All right. Well, I can't draw now. He's right in my arm length. This damn cat. Now he's there.
Mark Domowitz shows up. He said, hey, everyone. And he says, Jessica, your voice sounds terrible.
Oh, I know. I've been in a really had a bad cold.
Right.
And I have to talk to Robert, so that makes it really hard.
Really hard. No one wants to do that.
Yeah. Oh my God, Cat. This is when I have to start being mean. Get the fuck out of here.
Shove that pussy away.
People are like, nah, no, we'd rather have the cat here than you.
Yeah, right.
You can leave. Just put the camera on the cat, and Robert, you just talk out loud.
All right. Yeah, just put the cat on screen.
Yeah, there's some people who follow me. It's really funny how people are like, I subscribe for one reason and one reason only, and that's Rusty. And some people are like, if I don't see Rusty in the next video, I'm gonna unsubscribe. So I'm like, okay. I don't choose when he shows up. I sit down and he knows it's time to fuck with me.
You should do like a cartoony little like caricature of him and like have it be like your channel mascot. Like a cartoony kitty. That would be funny. Mark says, haha, good to see the bro here. John, how's your influencer career going?
Oh, so good. My 171 subscribers are like the most important ever. Your 2 point whatever thousand hold nothing to mine.
My roommate says Jessica is Rob's Rusty, like the cute, charming thing will show up for.
Oh yeah,
which is fair. That's 100% fair. She's kind of having a rough night. She mentioned on our last live stream, but she had a extended family member pass away, an aunt that helped raise her, and I guess they had a funeral, but she wasn't able to go because it's out of state. But I guess there's some other family members that are getting together locally, and she needed to go to it because she said it's hitting her harder than she expected it to. She's kind of struggling with it a little bit and had to go to this thing. So we all can send our good vibes her way. She's having a rough minute of it.
God, there's so much fucking mud now and shit on this table. You're a dirty pussy.
Somebody had to say it.
Mm.
Sean Croft says my biggest gripe about the original, they couldn't even get Orko for crying out loud. Are you talking about the movie? The original He-Man movie? I can understand have Orko in it because to get him right, that would be a big financial, a pain in the ass that they couldn't do. So they made Dildor.
Yeah.
He was in Dune. Did you watch that, Johnny?
The what?
The new season of the He-Man?
Oh yeah. I was telling you about that, like with the convention I did at the mall by myself, you know. I was next to a guy, I forget his name. Like we were talking the whole time. And he just kind of slyly mentioned that he was one of the character designers of the second season of, that He-Man. Of it hadn't come out yet. I'm like, oh really? And he's like, yeah, do you know who Gwildor is? I'm like, fuck yeah. He's like, yeah, I got to design him. I saw the character sheets of they were coming up, and he was like, I have to have him in. I have to be the one to design them. So yeah, I had spoken to the guy who had done that.
You talked to the guy who animated Dildor.
Yeah.
I thought they did a good job. The voice sounded pretty fucking good. Hi, Jessica. I didn't know she was listening. Otherwise, I wouldn't have said such nice things. We don't want her to hear us actually say it.
She's like, Robert, quit telling everyone what's going on in my life, you son of a bitch.
You son of a fuck. Right. And I didn't say anything she hadn't mentioned once before, and it's not out of the realm of, you can be like, yeah, someone's having a struggle with someone that passed on. Yeah, that's not exactly a secret. I just think about how and I don't know if it's the same for you, Johnny, but I have yet to experience a death in the family that really affects me.
Yeah, no. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned that somewhere, like on one of the videos. I forget which one, but yeah, we have never really had someone that's been really close to us that's passed away. I've known people who have died, like coworkers, and I've worked in a homeless shelter system for 20 years, so I've known people there who have passed away. And I found dead bodies, but nothing that's hit me emotionally.
Yeah, really messed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same thing. I know it'll happen, but that's why you have to make every moment count, Johnny. Make it count.
Yeah, we'll play Hungry Hippos.
Waiting game sucks.
So how many? I was going to ask you earlier. How many pages are you in on this third book, and how many is it going to be?
Maybe I don't want to answer that private
Well,
kind of detailed information.
you
That
give away everything else in your book. You know?
right? All right. I don't know exactly how many I've got drawn. I want to say somewhere between 30 and 40 pages. Um, so far.
Yeah.
Um, um, I could have another 50 or 60.
Damn.
Yeah, I'll get it done. If only to
Yeah.
spite.
Only to spite me, because I'm like, you can't do that.
You told me last time I could not draw all those pages for that book, and I was like, you know what? Fuck your mama, which happens to be my mama.
I did that to, just get you motivated.
Yeah. Pear Duck says we're not drawing hentai, right? I mean,
Not yet.
not yet. That'll be later.
Yeah, we're gonna wait until midnight.
We've talked about on my lives about doing a Master's End After Dark follow-up book.
Oh my god.
Shows some in between scenes. Also, somebody suggested that we do like a Master's End swimsuit issue, which I actually thought was funny. I actually really want to do that.
That would be funny.
Like those Marvel swimsuit issues, like
Yeah.
Jaw in some fucking ridiculous, just all for fun. Get a bunch of artists who want to contribute, and you could draw like a sexy babe looking sexy, or you could draw something funny, just like those old ridiculous Marvel swimsuit issues. I was like, this is actually brilliant.
I'm trying to think of how can you have the quintessons be in that?
I don't know. We'll find a way. Lobo Estepario says, name tablet for draw, please.
Oh, this is just an iPad. This is just your regular old iPad. I forget which version I got this like 2 or 3 years ago. No, not it was longer than that. Fuck it, I don't know. It's just the Procreate app, which is really nice because it's, I don't know, some people use Photoshop, right? And other things, but like Photoshop, you have to do a monthly subscription, basically, like pay a monthly payment. I
Not if
think.
you have an older version.
Yeah, if you have that older version, but could you get that older version at this point? Like if you were starting off today with Photoshop, what could you do with it?
I get everything I needed of it off that computer of yours I have. But
Right, but
things.
But I didn't have. I gave that computer to you, and then I didn't have Photoshop. I'm like, how do I do it? Like, I have to do like a $20 each month. Anyways, Procreate was $12 for the app. A one-time,
Yeah.
a one-time fee. So it's served me well. There's probably other programs that can do more stuff, and there's so much on this program that I have no idea. Like I probably know like 10 or 15% of what Procreate can do, but it does it for it. All I need is to be able to pencil some stuff and ink it, and that's all I really need.
Sean Croft says I need to get some of those blue line pencils. Looks great. You talk about just the actual blue pencil that I draw with. If you're talking about the actual physical drawing, because I do all my dropped it. Like I do all the drawings in this blue pencil. If that's what you're referring to, makes it a lot easier to figure out the roughs here and then just light box the pencils onto another paper and keep it nice and clean. You got to keep your shit clean, Johnny.
Yeah, that's why I have a bidet.
Yeah. So is your little guy crashed out asleep then?
Yeah, in the next room. I hear him cough every now and then. He's like constantly sick because he's in daycare.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to do daycare with your boys?
When we first had Leo, when he was first born, that was when the missus, the former missus, she was still having to go into her office to work before she got to work from home. And
Mm-hmm.
so for the first year of his life, little Leo went to a daycare, and but then she got to be home and just got to keep him from there.
Mm. So, how young was he when he first went?
I can't remember exactly how old. Not walking, obviously, within his first year of his life, 6, 7 months old. Well, I mean, when,
Mm.
well, honestly, now that I think about it, he would have to be a lot younger because once she was done with maternity leave, she had to go into the office and I worked. So, 3 months old, 4 months old. We're taking like a newborn baby to this daycare place.
Oh, damn, that's nuts. I mean, we were lucky because, um, my Lori, my wife, she took the first 3 months off, and then I took 3 months off after her. So, little JD had 6 months of us, and then we got like a nanny that we paid for 3 months, but she could only like we could only afford her for like 4 days every 2 weeks. And then our mom helped us for a couple of, for a little while, but then she couldn't do that anymore. And we couldn't afford the nanny to pick up
Yeah.
that slack.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had to put him in daycare by 9 months. And it's kind of good for him because we don't know if we're going to have a second one, and it'll be good for him to be around other children.
Yeah.
Um, but it's hard sometimes when we drop him off and he's screaming and crying, doesn't want to leave.
Yeah. Shit sucks.
Mhm. I was going through some pages, and I was doing some like of the time lapse replays. I wonder if I can remember which one it was. I don't remember now, but like before I did, I'll have to find it. Um, but when I did the time lapse replay, I did like this quick sketch of like someone bending over and farting. And
That what
I couldn't remember. I did remember that I had drawn that. And so when I was looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, what is this? That's funny.
you should
Like,
play that right now.
I know, I'm trying to find it. Hold on.
D-Man, you say you're doing world building on your DC universe. Your characters go to strip clubs. Hell yeah. Muffin Man, he's shown up here. Um, Sean Croft says George Perez on the left there, fitting all those characters into one panel so nicely. He was the best at that. Yeah, George Perez was incredible. No one can match what he could do.
Oh, found it. So this is the page, right, that I did. This is in the second book that you have yet to review. But so I'll do the time lapse replay.
Jesus Christ, Johnny. Sometimes warm up by drawing a guy farting.
Yeah, and it was a moonbeam in it. Like it must have been someone's like, draw this guy that we know, like with a moonbeam, and moon his pants down. So I put a moon in his ass crack, and a beam was coming out.
Oh. Oh, Johnny.
So what else you been up to?
Well, according to D-Man, I've been making videos that are way too long, so we won't watch them.
Oh yeah, I understand that.
The one I did for Dark Phoenix, I really wanted that one to. I wanted to take the time to really go into what I thought about it, and it was one of my favorite ones to record. I really enjoyed doing that one, but it kind of depends. Some people don't like the long form ones, and some people like it. Some people don't. But yeah, I get it. Yeah, Johnny, I just draw, and then I work, and then I get tired because I'm old and it's lame, and so I nap, and then rinse, repeat. On occasion, I go out with some friends, like I did the other night.
How much do you have to pay them to do that?
Right? I was like telling these girls, I'm like, you girls don't want me to come on, because the one girl was like, "Oh my God, Rob, we should totally go out to a bar and get your roommate, and then we'll all go out to a bar and have fun." I'm like, "All right, sure, if you want, great, let's do that." And then she's like, "Oh my God, we should get this other girl." I'm like, "All right, but you girls don't want my dumb ass to go along. You guys want girl time, right?" It's like, "Oh my God, no, it'd be totally fun to have you along." And it's like, I told her, I said, "I'll look like the gay friend, you know what I mean? Like the one dude with all the chicks." And she, who's actually gay herself, she's like, "Bro, maybe you look like the guy with all the Riz hanging out with all the girls." I'm like, "Oh, all right, that's fair."
The
No one,
Riz.
yeah, I know, right? But it's like I'm there with my roommate, a married woman, and a gay girl, so it's.
Oh yeah. I went out with it was during Christmas, and it was with my friend Alicia and her sister, and then some of their friends, and like they invited Lori and I, but Lori didn't want to go. Like it was something else. She was doing something else. So I went out. So I was like at this bar with like 6 women, right? And all I did was show them pictures of my kid. I'm like, look, who wants to see pictures? Like, look how cute. Look how cute. Look at this video.
Hey, Top G, go fuck yourself, buddy.
Wait, what? What's going on?
Somebody's being a smartass. So my D man, I gave him power, moderator. My roommate says, "Sounds like some people can only take in small doses of you," referring to me, which is true.
Going back to He-Man and like Orko, um, I was going to mention like Orko wasn't in the Dolph Lundgren movie, and I was like, yeah, who cares? Like Orko kind of sucks. Like he's annoying and all that. But in our fan comic, I think we kind of got to a point where like we were liking him. Like he's kind of cool. Like if you do it right, he can kind of be not so annoying. But
Yeah, a lot of it's the way his voice acting was done, and
yeah.
Kind of this.
So we made Orko cool, but yeah, not for Snarf and ThunderCats. First chance I got, I ripped his fucking spine out.
Red Skeletor ripped him in half, and it was a little cathartic.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's the point. Some people are like, "Oh, what'd you do that for?"
Oh, because I'm. What did that? There was like some reviewers that got a hold of your. Not we didn't print the book, but you put pages up.
It's on
online.
that webbing.
Yeah, and like some people in a He-Man forum got a hold of him or saw him and started ripping you apart and talking about how you were a little kid or something.
Not the He-Man forums. It was the John Byrne website.
Oh, that's right.
A bunch of Byrne victims were talking the sad, pathetic loser I am for having a comic with such violence in it. I must be a basement dweller. This, that, and the other. Like, all right, you bunch of fucking assholes. D-Man says Orko floats. They couldn't do that in '87. Well, they could, but if you don't know, it was a Canon Films movie. They had no money. Like that's why they moved the story from Eternia to freaking like suburban modern Earth so they could like just go film in the small town in Canada or some shit.
But why though? Like, is it cheaper to film in a city than like just go on location in the wilderness? You know, like
I'm not
do a
saying
few
the right
sets. I don't know.
decision that they made, but they couldn't like they couldn't afford if they can barely just afford to go film in a forest. They're not going to have a floating like whatever he is,
Whatever he is, yeah.
whatever he is. Um, yeah, and then I think they were just too chicken shit to go full on fantasy and just have it remain in a fantasy where like we got to ground it for the common man to want to watch it. We got to put Courtney Cox and Lieutenant Tom Paris in the film and have it in modern day Earth and have like a chicken restaurant in the background so people feel like something they can connect to.
And you know who played the sorceress? Was the actress who plays Courtney Cox's mom in Friends. Monica
Wrong,
and Ross's mom was
wrong. Oh, the sorceress. I'm sorry, I was wrong. You said sorceress, and I immediately envisioned Evil Lynn. I apologize.
better. I
I
think you're
apologize.
wrong.
You're wrong. You're fucking wrong. But yeah, I did know that.
Yeah, I really want to get into that movie though, and like there's a lot of stuff that about it that is not good, but there's a lot of stuff that we do like. I mean, I'm speaking for both of us, but
Yeah. Well, I rewatched the Red Letter Media commentary on it, and well, at least no, the whole thing. They got some funny insights on it. It's actually pretty entertaining. D-Man says the Castle Grayskull sucked too. It was just a high rise with the skull in the middle. I actually can't. I actually didn't mind the Grayskull in the movie. It looked like a giant castle with like I'd rather they stay true to the actual design, but that one I didn't mind. There was too many other things to hate on for like to be mad at the Castle Grayskull in the movie.
mhm.
Like not having any of the the like the main villains. Like they had sort of a version of Beastman, but he was stupid, and then Blade and Targ and
Oh, you remembered
Saurus or Sauron or the lizard,
Sauron?
who was actually a really cool looking design, but he got vaporized as soon as Skeletor needed to like kill a rando just to demonstrate his powers, and it's like, oh, you killed kind of the cool looking one, not the guy with the big stupid like old lady hairdo.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That's really lame. What's hard to do is when you get all your characters together and have all 8 of these fucking heroes gathered together in one scene. You have to draw them. Like, God, it's time consuming. But it's worth it, right?
I guess we'll find out. They made toys off of some of those new characters in that He-Man movie, didn't they?
Yeah, there's some out there. Hold on. Hey, Sean Croft, if you're watching, I think you're not up to current conversation. So everything that you leave a question on is like delayed by several minutes because I don't think you're watching it live. I think you're actually back a few minutes. If that makes any sense. I know I've watched lives before. I didn't realize I wasn't watching it live at that exact moment to moment. I'm actually like a few minutes behind, and then I'd leave a comment and no one responds to it, and then like 20 minutes later they do. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? So D-Man says they forgot Skeletor has blue skin. That I didn't need. I didn't need blue skin. In fact, I know it is, but when I looked at it, I never read it as he had blue skin. I always thought it was like blue spandex, you know, um, because who has blue skin as a kid? But I see it now what it obviously is. But he's got a fucking yellow skull face. I don't know how that works.
Wasn't it kind of crazy in that second season of He-Man with all like the voices they got, like William Shatner and John Delancey?
Yeah, I could recognize Delancey, and I was kind of trying to get the roommate to like, okay, listen to this voice. I promise you know who it is, but you may not be able to pick it out. And at first, she couldn't do it, but I think eventually she's like, "Oh wait, is that Q?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah!"
And then I forgot that Crusher, Dr. Crusher, did the voice for the mom. And then when I realized it, like,
Wait, no,
this,
wait,
huh? What?
who did the voice for who?
Oh, you didn't know that? Like the He-Man's mom, Gates McFadden, Dr.
I'm
Crusher?
wrong. That's Alicia Silverstone. I don't. I mean, I
Let me find out. I got a
yeah.
computer right here.
Get out. Taking bets on who's going to be correct on this one.
Queen Marlena, Gates McFadden.
No, I think you're wrong. That wasn't her.
Don't make me show my. Let's see. There it is, right there.
Maybe it was season 1 I'm thinking of. It says Masters of the Universe Revelation made a clever reference to Clueless, the most famous film of Queen Marlena voice actress Alicia Silverstone. But that was from 2021. So
So I was right, basically, is what you're saying.
no. What was this one? They got these stupid R's. It's Revelation or what was the season 2?
Revolution.
What was it? What was the first season called? God damn, why can't I remember any of this shit? Why would this stupid shit pull up?
Yeah, Revelation was the first one. Revolution was the second one.
Ugh.
Are you still looking?
Yeah.
So I mean, because yeah, they did get new actors from like season 1 to season 2. Like Sarah Michelle Gellar didn't do Tila, and they got Melissa Ben. I don't know how you pronounce her.
Benoist.
Yeah, from Supergirl that Kevin Smith had worked with. So maybe
Meg Foster from the original He-Man movie to be the voice of Motherboard.
Oh yeah.
I didn't like the Skeletor adopting technology over magic. I'm like, I mean, I get they're trying to do.
Yeah, I was kind of annoyed that that Skeletor turned into the bad guy again, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the main bad guy. Like I'm fine with him being there, but I'm like, I kind of wanted Hordak there just to be like the main threat. Because I'd love Keith David as that voice actor who does Spawn and Goliath and all that.
Yeah, that was pretty epic.
But yeah, when he was Skeletech, they called him.
That's funny.
Eat this. I was thinking another fun movie we should watch was Willow, just so we can laugh at the part of Mad Mardigan as an ice cube. I was thinking about that today for whatever reason, started chuckling to myself.
Man, I remember as a kid watching that for the first time, and I about pissed myself. I had never seen anything so ridiculous and awesome in all my life. And then the brownies
Yeah.
ask him to stop the wagon. All that cool shit that they didn't bother to put into that horrible remake that they did.
Yeah. I didn't hate that as much as you did.
Oh my god, did you watch the entire thing?
No, I mean I didn't. I watched like 3 or 4 episodes, and I got bored, but I didn't get mad.
Oh,
I would
I was
say.
mad because I wanted it to be good. And then I'd go back and turn on the original movie and I'm like, "Oh, there's the magic. It's so simple. Have some of the music, have stuff we recognize. The only thing that we recognize are some names and then Willow himself, who actually was amongst the worst things in the show. It was just a
I mean, you had what's her Sorsha? She was in it at least.
yeah, that was fair.
I mean, I didn't have high hope. I wasn't too excited for it because I don't really care for the character of Willow that much. Like, it was Val Kilmer and Mad Mardigan that made that movie for me, and since he wasn't going to be in it, I really wasn't too terribly excited. So, all the rest of the stuff was just like, yeah, fine, whatever. I mean, besides the music.
Yeah. Nathan Judd says, "Hi, Rob. I hope you enjoyed the Sue Storm piece he posted over on the Discord, where there's a picture of Sue Storm coming out of the water and Namor, like right behind her, looks like he was just staring straight at her ass at this nice down low angle." I'm like, yeah, that's what that's what I'd be doing. I'd be subtle about it. I'd be not so obvious. What's going on in that panel, Johnny? Is your hero shooting a werewolf in the face?
No, in the head. Like, doesn't even, he misses his face entirely. It goes right down his throat.
Well,
There's gonna be so much blood. And it's gonna be so cool.
you should have the the exit wound coming out the bottom of the wolf's ass.
Well, he's standing upright, so I don't know how the bullet would travel, make like a sudden sharp turn and go downwards.
I don't care. Just make it bounce around. I've actually heard this cops or talk about ballistics where a guy gets shot and the bullet actually ricochets around through their body, bounces off their skeleton, and like exits out a weird angle. So
Oh
it's
my god!
not impossible. It's funny. I gotta say, so I reviewed your first issue of Blood Moon, and I enjoyed it for all the things, but especially for the humor, right?
Right.
I was kind of flipping through issue 2, and you kind of like didn't have any humor. Like at the level it was in the
I'm
first.
sorry. I'm
like,
not making you laugh.
You're right. You made me laugh once. Make me laugh again. Dance for me, monkey.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if there was any.
I'm telling you, there wasn't.
I thought the joke with the beaver joke was funny.
I'd have to look at it again. I don't remember.
It was like the two asshole guys, the brothers. They're looking at the dead body that they had found in town. And they're like, "Well, where were you last night?" It was like, "I was watching this show about beavers. It's
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah. Right.
best damn show I've seen."
That I remember. I was trying to is that supposed to be a reference to something I'm supposed to get?
No, I just thought like I didn't make up that joke. I heard it somewhere, and I just wanted like the most ridiculous like pun joke that I could think of.
Well, I do remember now that you say that.
I'm trying to think. Let me look. I don't think there's. Oh, it's not a lot of jokes in this. What's going to be this third one either?
You need to rework that script, buddy. I want the funny.
Let me go. Hold on. Oh, well, this one was funny too. I thought where they come in, it's like this doctor's clinic where they thought this body was going to be, and it's just like there's all this blood, and I forget what he says. He's like, yeah, you need to clean up in here or something. There's just like blood splatters everywhere.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny, so fuck you.
I'm just always looking for the humor because you can do humor and I can't. I mean, not that my books have much room for what I'm doing for humor, but
Right.
I struggle with it. The only places I had some humor is when I had the guys sitting at the tavern and everyone was kind of giving Trapjaw shit. Like Trapjaw was asking Fisto, like, how do you wipe your ass with that big hand? I think no. So Fisto asked Trapjaw, "How do you eat with that jaw?" And I think then Trapjaw was like, "How do you wipe your ass with that?" You know what I mean? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember. It's been a couple years since I wrote that scene, but
yeah, but like you don't need like your comics aren't. You don't need the humor. Like
I know, but that's what I'm saying. There's not much need for it in what I'm doing, but even if there was, I'm not good at it, or at least humor's hard.
Well, and when I try and force it, that's when it becomes unfunny. It just has to, happen.
Yeah.
And most of the jokes, do during like the lettering process a lot of the times where I'm like, wait, this would be funny if they said that, like that damn it, Jim
Yeah,
joke. That was just like, what am I going to call this Jim? I should put some lettering on this Jim, and then I'm like, I'll just do that.
dude, I laughed so hard the first time I saw that. Did you know that that Van Damme movie Cyborg was originally all prepped to be the sequel to Masters of the Universe?
Yes, I did know it was supposed to be something like that.
They just decided to stop making, and a lot of the setup was um prep to make that movie, and then so they had to like do something with it. So like, all right, get Van Damme on board. Let's make a terrible, you know.
Yeah.
It had something like when it's Van Damme, you're at least going to get fun action fighting stuff, but not
Was that
much else.
movie any good? I can't remember.
It has moments where it's kind of entertaining, but overall, it's kind of like you get to a point you're like, oh god, is it still going?
Yeah.
Show me some fighting or show me some titties or something, but I can't like I don't care about any of this.
I remember, speaking of laughing in Jean-Claude Van Damme movies, that what was it, Hard Target, that he was in.
Yeah.
Do you remember the very end? Because it had Lance Henriksen as the bad guy, right?
Whoop.
Yeah, you remember that? Do you remember the first time we watched that? You
We
could not
laughed.
stop laughing.
Was it
I
just
like,
me, not you?
well, I think I was laughing, but I think I was laughing. It was funny, but you were laughing so hard it made me laugh more.
Yeah.
You erupted.
Oh, it's so unexpected.
Whoop.
Hey, Sean Croft, if you like, I mean, there's tons of videos to watch. He says, so Sean Croft says, it says first time seeing drawing done on a tablet. So this is a learning experience. So talking about your stuff, obviously,
Yeah.
but there's obviously lots of, you could go searching on YouTube for how to draw on a tablet, but go check out Chuck Gibson if you want. He's got a couple videos he's put up in recent times where he's inking my pages. And he's using his opportunity to ink on me to practice different techniques, and you can see him working out different techniques, and he'll do an entire section of a figure and erase the whole thing and start over, just practicing his kind of abilities to do different textures and rendering techniques. They're really interesting. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff online, but I'm going to direct you to stuff that's relevant and interesting to me. So I recommend that. Chuck has got there's only a couple videos up there, and he's working on doing more, but I think they're pretty fun to watch, to see him working out, how am I going to do this, or how am I going to try that?
Yeah. When I started, I just started looking up random, like how to use Procreate, and they give you the very basics, and that's where I started. And there will be some times where I'm like, I need to figure out how to do this. Like I'm trying to do it, figure it out, and I don't know how. And I can usually figure it out from some tutorials or find something. So there's definitely a lot going on. I figured like I'm not when there are days that I can't get like a video up or something or anything on my channel, I'm probably going to just throw up some time lapse drawings just to kind of have something up there.
My roommate says Rob is actually pretty funny in real life.
Yeah.
Sarcasm.
I'm no stranger to sarcasm.
I think I'm hilarious, but no one else does.
No, it is one of those things where you rewatch your video, like you've talked about how you've rewatched your video and you found stuff that you've said that you thought was funny. And I've done the same thing when I don't know why, like in the last issue of the Transformers comic that I did, at the moment when like Unicron is the ship goes through his eye, for the first time. And for some reason, when I was doing the comic, I'm like, so Unicron's there and the ship goes in his eye. He's like, oh fuck my eye. And when I rewatched that, for some reason I started laughing because I'm imagining Unicron being like, oh fuck my eye,
Yeah, that's funny. I listened to them all. I remember you mentioning that part, but I didn't catch that part. But yeah, on occasion you go back and rewatch, and you're like, oh, on occasion. I did one recently where I rewatched a bit. You know what? I did a thing. I did an intentional thing where I thought about it at work, and I'm like, oh, when I record this video, I need to do this. So I actually wrote it down and I put it into the video, and no one mentioned it once. And I thought it was funny. It's that Battle Chasers issue 10,
Yeah.
where at the beginning, there's a page right at the beginning where it breaks down every character and gives a description of who they are and what they do. And I read it word for word, except I added one little extra thing in each line of the description, where it's like it started out with like, hold on, I got it right here. Hold on.
It's so funny. I have to talk about it.
I even rewatched it and I thought it was hilarious. So like, yeah, Battle Chasers number 10. This Mark, he said, all right, thank you, Mark. You validate. You complete me, sir. She says he was laughing when you were expressing Lilandra's feelings when the other aliens showed up to discuss stuff. This is on my video I did today, because it's like she's going over all this stuff, and these Kree and Skrull aliens were like, hey, wait a minute, we didn't agree to this. And so I was like, she's like, oh, great, these guys. And so thank you, Mark. You validate me. But right here, Johnny, it says like it's like Red Monica. It says a wanted fugitive, the notorious outlaw Red Monica will do anything for fame and fortune. So I read these, but I added in one word where I said a wanted fugitive with huge tits, the notorious outlaw Red Monica will do anything. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I thought I was funny. It had one where Nolan, the old wizard guy, says quick of wit and tough as nails. The old wizard Nolan has, so I said quick of wit and tough as nails and old as fuck. The old wizard Nolan. I did a whole series of them, and no one mentioned one fucking thing. I'm like, you know what? And I rewatch it, I'm laughing like, haha, it's funny. Anyway,
I do remember that.
like I wish somebody would have said something, because I'm like, yeah, a notorious outlaw with huge tits. I mean, it wasn't untrue.
Well, there's more to her than that, Robert. She also has 2 minions.
She also has 2 huge titties. My roommate says it's funny for me to listen to Rob listening to himself and chuckling at himself. You know what? If I can't make anybody else laugh, I better make myself laugh.
Mm-hmm.
But Mark, thank you. You complete me, sir. I feel validated. Yeah, I thought that was funny. Oh, these fucking guys.
I'm hungry. We're gonna get some breakfast.
Oh, piece of French toast. What movie is that from?
That's from 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Thank you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I almost said Anchorman. Fucking French toast.
French toast. Yeah, Sean Croft. I mean, you're way behind as far as the, maybe I don't know if you're caught up now, but you're way behind as far as the timeline, sir. Like he's kind of responding to things we said like 10 minutes ago, and so I'm like, I forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah, I saw some of them. I'm like, wait a minute, am I missing something in the rest of the chat?
What part of the conversation am I missing? Hey. And then, John, do you remember? You didn't watch my Dark Phoenix review or anything yet from today, did you?
I was. I'm like, I didn't finish. I started it while I was in the car. I usually only get a chance to like really watch it when I'm driving somewhere.
I get it.
So I started it and I didn't get.
Yeah. Well,
very far into it.
Part towards the end, I was wondering if anybody else agreed with me. If you remember the story, Because
I do, because I watched the animated series.
Anyway, the they were fighting the Imperial Guard, and then the X-Men were done and like taken out, and it was down to Cyclops and Jean Grey.
Right.
And in the way the story was portrayed, it just ends with like Jean Grey and Scott rushing out from hiding for just a second into battle, and him blasting off like his lasers and her throwing a bunch of rocks. But then you don't see it happen, but Cyclops gets like put down, and it's her seeing that made the Dark Phoenix or the Phoenix entity reemerge, right? So now she's Dark Phoenix, or well, she's Phoenix. She's not Dark Phoenix yet. She becomes just regular Phoenix. So Professor X forcibly wakes everyone up, and he's like, "Get her while she's relatively weak. You got to get her." And so Wolverine sees what's going on, and if you remember, he picks up Colossus and throws him at her. Do you remember that?
He picked up Colossus?
Yeah. He picks up, because they're on the blue area of the moon, the blue area. So gravity's right. And he says to Colossus, he's like, "Hey, I loved her and I hesitated last time. In the previous issue, Wolverine tackled her, put his claws to her face, was going to kill her, because he was saying, I have to end this. Everyone else is holding back." But then she had like a moment where she kind of regained her senses and begged him to kill her. And he hesitated, and then he didn't do it. So he grabs Colossus and says, "I hesitated last time. I might do it again. You need to do it." So he throws him at her and says, "Don't waste this opportunity. Fucking knock her block off and kill her." Yeah. And I was saying in my review, I'm like, I think everything in that scene is a bit out of character, because one, Colossus has never killed anybody, and he's this gentle soul. You can't ask that of him, just to do a thing that you're too chicken shit to do. And I think also in character for Wolverine he should have been like, "I hesitated last time, and
I won't do it again," or something.
I will not hesitate again. So, hey, Colossus, throw me. And so I never thought of that until I was reviewing it right at that one moment. But I'm like, it was really fucked up of Wolverine just to pick up Colossus and just like kill her and just huck him at her. And Colossus is going to hesitate. If Wolverine did, I mean, Wolverine's like in love with her, and Colossus isn't, but he loves her like a family member. So I don't know. Do you think that's a reasonable like assessment of characters, like what could have worked?
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. The only reason I'm kind of like stumbling over my words and like thinking about it is I'm reminded of that that backup story that Jim Lee did in one of those classic X-Men, right? Where that guy fucked with Storm, Wolverine, and Colossus when they were like pulling out that tree.
Yep, one of my favorite.
Yeah. And I remember in that moment when like they finally like subdued the guy and like they gave him a choice. Like you can either like Colossus was like holding him, like his hands to his head. Like you can either blast your own head off while Colossus holds you, or you can die by my claws. Like Colossus kind of like showed a like, hey, yeah, let's murder this guy. But I think that could have been, just he wasn't really going to do anything.
Done on somebody to keep them there. You know what I mean? It's like,
so
I never with you, but you're still going to stop.
Yeah, so that's why I was like, no, you're right, because that could have been anything. But that is kind of weird for like, come on, Wolverine, just fucking do it. Quit being like that.
What an epic thing that could have been, to have him just like get down there and you could have had him. I mean, it's a Marvel comic, so they wouldn't do it, but have him actually stab her.
Yeah.
And actually do it, but it just doesn't kill her because she's the Phoenix. She'll survive. But you can always look back like Wolverine actually did it. He did his best to stab her to death, and didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, that's how she died the last time in that Grant Morrison run. right before like the issues before Mark Silvestri came that you reviewed.
Yeah.
Like Wolverine, he was going Wolverine and her were like trapped up on like a space station in space, and they were gonna like die on re-entry or something. So Wolverine basically killed her to like stabbed her to prevent her from like the pain of the actual death that was going to happen.
I have no recollection of that at all.
I know he was going to, but I don't know if it like worked, and her power, like the Phoenix stuff manifested in some way. But that's how she died. So Wolverine did fucking shank her.
I was making reference to how many times Jean Grey's died. Like, this is the first time. And don't worry, it'll happen about 6 more times.
Yeah. Well, she basically didn't they think she died when she first got the Phoenix?
No. She came down in that space shuttle and she was going to be irradiated. So when they crashed the ship and she controlled the space shuttle to Earth, they're like, there's no way she survived, but she immediately pops up as the Phoenix. But I guess what is her real body was in a cocoon at the bottom of the water that Reed Richards found later, and this Jean Grey that died was like a Phoenix created clone.
Right.
I'm like, wow, way to fucking ruin the story with this convoluted nonsense. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But they're trying to come up with some way, like, well, she did die. She got vaporized. So how do we bring her back? Like, well, she's just sitting on the bottom of the ocean, that river or whatever that they crashed into. And so the Phoenix created a clone. All right. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, guys. Go for it.
And then there's Madeline Pryor, and she's a thing.
Yeah. Hyperboy says W drawing, guys. I'm guessing that's a like a what are we drawing? So what are you drawing, Johnny?
I'm drawing a page from my comic. I am several pages into it. It's a horror story involving werewolves and other things. And he's currently shoving a shotgun in this werewolf's mouth and blowing his fucking head off. Yeah. That's what you do. Because he likes to fight, right, Robert?
He likes to fight. That's right. I'm going to do that. I'm telling you. Yeah, if anybody's here, go follow my brother's YouTube page.
Yeah.
You should look and see if you can do lives, and you do one, and then I'll join up with you, and then maybe we could get a few more.
Yeah, I was going to at some point. I was kind of waiting for more subscribers to, And again, finding time is difficult.
Yeah. Understood. Sean Croft asked if are you guys all self-taught? I mean, I think basically, the only only classes I've ever been were high school art classes, and
shit.
Yeah. So I would say yes. I've never been to any college classes or taken any courses. I'm not saying like that wouldn't help, but I have not done that. So, Mark, John,
go
ahead.
Sorry. I'm going to tag on that where I would say that you have been my teacher more than anything else.
Oh.
Still to this day, you're like, you did this wrong. I'm like, shut up.
Then you're like, maybe
I will.
Right. Mark asked John if you have a Discord.
No, I do not.
Have you joined mine?
Yeah, I do, but I can barely watch your videos. You think I'm going to jump on your Discord when you're doing stuff?
Apparently not.
I don't even respond to your texts. What do you do on it anyways?
It's just basically a place to like a forum, to post things, but it's for a select group of people who all have like-minded interests. you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, one-ish basically knows me from the YouTube channel. So if you liked what I do and you kind of like it's mostly people get on there and kind of do creative stuff. There's drawings and we share art and kind of it's kind of just like a little group of like-minded people who like art and comics and that type of stuff and just joke and talk and share. It's just a place to gather and have kind of conversations.
Gotcha.
So it's fun. I try to, it's like you. I'm trying to do multiple things at once, but fortunately, Jessica kind of helps out, and then Mark, who's on here, he he's on there a lot, and another fellow by someone sane. I kind of made him like a moderator, and he helps out, kind of take care of stuff. So it's fun. It's fun to kind of have a little community. Yeah, it's mostly about art, is what Mark is saying.
Mm. That's cool.
It is cool.
Oops.
Did you screw up?
Oh, no. Nothing that I can't fix.
Yeah, right.
So, when do you think it's appropriate for sound effects? I know that
Well,
we've talked and
yeah.
like sound effects can be very fucking stupid sometimes in comics.
I just plain old don't like them, and I don't use them. But there's been a couple places where, the scene needs to have a sound, like an explosion, especially when a character, like I had a scene where a character hears an explosion in the distance, and I could just have the character like, "What's that sound?" But then I had to like throw in a thing.
Yeah.
So
Should I when he blows his head off here? I mean, I wrote in the word boom here. Do you think I should have that or not?
I mean, if the panel doesn't make it extremely clear that there's something happening with like recoiled motion or blood splatter or something, I would say you might want to have something.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it depends on what it all looks like when it's all done, like when you get to a completed point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like
Makes sense.
if there's a big if there's a big muzzle flash and blood flying, as far as I'm concerned, I don't need to read the word boom because I hear it in my head.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do.
It's funny in my Bliss comic. Like this comic is totally rated R, right? I throw in as much swear words and violence and nudity as I can,
Yeah,
especially the nudity.
right.
But my Bliss comic, I try and keep that like a PG-13 kind of thing. Like there's violence, no nudity, and I try and limit the swearing I do in it. Like I don't really say fuck, right? But then I realized like this guy here, he caught my dude Kyle here. He his first appearance in the jail cell or in the police station,
Yep.
where he was arrested. I
Yep.
didn't even realize I had done this till I read it later, where I totally had him say like these fuckers, and because that's just the way he talks.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you're talking about these fuckers that I killed over here." And then I was like months later, I'm reading it. I'm like, "Oh my god, I threw an f bomb in this comic that I'm trying not to."
Well, to be
And I
fair,
and I'm the letterer. I did the lettering, and I didn't even realize it.
well, in a PG-13 movie, you're allowed one F word.
Right? Yeah. But I was still like trying to limit myself at that point. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't trying to do like one f word, like one fuck in each issue. It was kind of like one fuck in the whole story. Um, but it was just funny that I didn't even mean to do it, and I still, this guy just needs to swear.
Yeah. It's just in character. You could just do like the symbols,
Yeah.
for the swearing.
Or when she got teleported, remember she's like, "What the?" And then
Yeah, and then
it's cut off, and then when she's like teleported later, she's like, "Uck, what the?"
yeah, that was funny. That was another funny moment that I had good times with reading your books. See, I'll come up with ideas I think are funny in like a spur of the moment, but then when I like let it simmer in my head and it's time to put it on paper, the spontaneity of it has died and I get cowardly and I don't do it.
Yeah. Mm.
Sean Croft says back muscles are tricky. Yeah, hell yeah, they are.
Yeah. They're trying to limit.
Just draw some bubbly shapes like Liefeld, and then it's just perfectly fine.
I'm kidding. Do you know how many people like still like defend him? It's so crazy. I know I know he has his fans and his fan base, but like I'll see these pictures on Facebook every now and then. And people are like, I don't get the hate for him. He just has a style and it's really fun and it's cool. I'm like, sure, you can say that, but you also have to realize that he also sucks in so many other ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've said this a lot. I like his older stuff, but his new stuff is so lazy. It is insane how bullshit lazy it is. Like, I am fine with people want to defend his older work because I kind of do too. But his new stuff, like, there's this channel that I watch that does kind of like what I do here.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, like, he's got all this production value and music, and he's interviewed tons of major industry like professionals.
Mm-hmm.
But I kill him on views every day.
Yeah.
I don't know, but um, this guy, and he'll occasionally have a buddy of his on, and they'll review a Liefeld comic, and they're just gushing over how amazing it is. And again, it's like you're saying, they like it, they dig it, so okay, I get that's fair. But I'm like, what do you see in this?
Yeah.
Like we just have a guy joined up, corrupted animation. He says, I kind of like Rob Liefeld, and again, that's fair. Don't take our dislike of it as like obviously everyone's allowed to like what they like. Like, I get it, and Liefeld has some. I would say he used to have some valid things that he would do. If ever I'm kind of struggling with a panel, I'm like, what would Liefeld do? And he'd at least make it energetic and exciting. So I at least try to do that, even if everything else I'm doing sucks. But his new stuff, his current stuff, it is just the laziest. He just draws the same. He's got like 7 different poses and 4 different facial expressions, and he does the same thing over and over and over. And I'm surprised he hasn't broken his arm patting himself on his back or snapped his neck trying to suck his own dick about how he's out there telling people, I draw one of the best Wolverines in the history of comics. I'm like, you absolutely do not, you know.
To which was he referring? Do you know?
Oh, he
Like
did
just in general?
just in general.
Mm.
Yeah, just any drawing of Wolverine he's done, he's like, this is some of the best drawings of Wolverine. The fans have spoken. I'm like, your echo chamber group of people, sure, because he blocks anybody that says otherwise. Corrupted Animation asks, who is the top artist for you guys? Someone who always slams it out of the park. That's a great question, Johnny. I can never have one. I would have to give a top 3 at least.
Yeah. I mean, Jim Lee is in my top 5 for sure. I mean, and he's had his moments like where he hasn't been so good. But as an artist, even when he's just doing like pieces of art, like non-sequential stuff, like you can still see like how good he is. I think I don't know how you pronounce his name. Olivier Coipel.
Olivier Coipel.
Coipel. like, he did House of M, he did Thor, he did several Thor runs. He is, I don't know why. Like, I love his stuff so much. Like, he can draw in a cartoon comic book style, where it's not like ultra detailed in a way that, I don't know, Brian Hitch can be, or somebody, but he draws them in natural poses. It's hard to explain. Like, I'm gonna, like, on my channel, like, especially in House of M, I'm gonna point out a bunch of stuff, but that guy just does some amazing stuff. I even bought a book. I forget what it is. It's a non superhero book that I just like. Oh, he's the artist. I'm gonna buy that without knowing anything about it, and I got
Was
it
it
just for his art.
was it
You
that
know.
Netflix, in theory, inspired magic?
Yeah, something with magic.
Yeah,
I started reading it, and then I kind of got bored with the story.
yeah,
But
exactly.
his
Yeah,
his stuff was so pretty.
yeah, definitely. So you got Jim Lee and Olivier.
I
If you had to
mean,
three,
yeah. I love Frank Cho. Um, J. Scott Campbell. That's four.
that's fine. There's no rules here.
I'm trying to think of a fifth one. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's so many. There's so many that you can start. Joe
Yeah,
Mad, Arthur
yeah,
Adams.
yeah.
Yeah, I know you like Adam Hughes when he does stuff. All those kind of guys. Alex Ross, even with his painting stuff, his painted work. So the list could go on, but Olivier, whatever his name is,
Yeah.
that's my main jam, I would guess. So
Um, like I was saying, I could never come down to just one, but I would say that my top ones would go back and forth between um, Adam Hughes, just because he can draw anything and make it look like the perfect version of what it's always supposed to be. Mark Silvestri.
oh yeah, see, I totally forgot about him. Yeah,
It was like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, he's probably forgetting him, so I'm going to make him feel dumb when I
you're
mention it,
dumb.
right? Um, Travis Charest.
Oh yeah,
But again, these are like Travis is one of those guys where he almost draws no comics ever. Adam Hughes will put out a thing here or there in between covers once every couple of years. But yeah, it's kind of like so many of my favorite artists don't draw comics anymore, like J. Scott Campbell or Joe Madureira. And so I
yeah,
kind of want to consider those fuckers because they don't draw comics, even if like J. Scott Campbell draws covers to comics. But to me, that's not a comic artist. You're just drawing covers, and he does amazing illustrations. And the thought and care and time and effort that he puts into it is just unbelievable. It's so good. But then I go back and um, review Danger Girl,
yeah,
and I'm like, he's so good at his storytelling and his concepts, his ideas, his body language. It's perfect. And it's a fucking crime against comics humanity that he doesn't draw comics anymore. He just wants to
yeah,
get, he gets that sweet cover gig that pays him really well. And again, I have no idea what he makes, but he clearly can command enough that he's making a very comfortable living just doing covers. And I respect that, but I want him to draw fucking comics. It's kind of like McFarlane. I keep going through these old Spider-Mans and stuff, even Spawns when the stories are just so stupid. But I'm like, God, he's so good artistically. I want to see him draw, not just ink,
right.
draw comic. So, and then Jim Lee, um, I can't understate the influence he had on me. It's kind of the same like most people back in the day. when he was on Uncanny X-Men and all that. It's like, oh, he's just so damn good. He's just kind of lost a little bit of his luster for me, just because he's drawing DC comic stuff, and I don't care about any DC comics. Like, he just posted up a big double page spread because they're going to reissue the Amalgam comics or whatever, and he did this amazing double page spread. You see that?
No.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll pass your eyes eventually at some point. Looks amazing just in pencil, looks incredible. I don't give a shit because it's a bunch of, well, in this case, it's a mishmash of Marvel and DC characters. Like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't, but the instant I see him do like a fan commission of Wolverine from X-Men, I'm like, oh, it looks so perfect. It's so good. I would die. We've said this. If you just go back and draw do one X-Men miniseries,
Yeah. Did you hear? Sorry. Keep going because I have a tag on. Did you hear that? I think Marvel had reached out to him to like take over X-Men, but he refused. He said no
about that.
I don't know if it's true. I mean, I bet they would have. Like with the current X-Men storyline coming to an end, the whole Krakoa stuff. They're like looking for like who's going to be writing it and spearheading it next. They're like, let's get Jim Lee to come back, and fuck, I would pick that up in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. I just feel like he's probably in a pretty good cushy position right now, and he's like, why run over to another thing I'm kind of done with. They keep having this rumor out there, whether it's true or not. I kind of doubt it, but there was a rumor that Marvel had reached out to Liefeld to like take over Marvel like titles and stuff, to like,
oh my god,
run Marvel. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. There couldn't be anybody who is the bigger has been on the face of the planet. There's no denying what he's done.
I was going to tell you because I had picked up. I sent you a picture of these 2 issues of Wolverine that I found that he had done. And I'm like, do you have these? Are you going to do these on your channel? And you said you didn't think you had them or whatever. You remember that?
Of pictures of what now?
I sent you pictures of these 2 issues of Wolverine that Rob Liefeld had done, and I had asked you if you had them. Remember?
I remember the conversation. I don't remember what the pictures were.
Right. But either way, I've been like so close to doing those. I'm like, no, I got to have Rob like there with me because I was looking through them and like at first glance they were like kind of looking good. He was like, there were some backgrounds in it. He was drawing feet. Like there's this picture of Wolverine like in the first double page spread at the beginning of the first comic where he's kind of like crouching over and it kind of looks good, And I was like, oh my gosh, I was flipping through it really quick. I'm like, this is like kind of good Rob Liefeld stuff. Am I crazy? But then I started looking. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm starting to see the things like, because even he had, the sticks that he always puts in people's backs, like he has a fucking, I'm going to draw it here. He has like just something sticking out of their back.
Yep.
Like, oh, they have a sword or a gun there, but then like it's reversed and they never have anything on it.
Yep.
Like, he had actually put stuff on the back. Like he's not doing his regular Rob Liefeld stuff. I'm like, this is fucking nuts. I got to show you, Rob.
Right.
But then like he starts seeing some of his other stuff and like, oh, but he has backgrounds because they're outside in a forest. That's easy to do. Once he has to do real backgrounds, they're like non-existent. And like, oh, look at this stupid woman here in this ridiculous outfit and the way she's holding this gun. Like no human on earth ever would hold the gun. And oh, look at this new terrifying villain that is the most boring as fuck generic design you've ever seen. It had Deadpool in it, so Wolverine and Deadpool, but I like wanted to review it. I'm like when the trailer came out, Deadpool. So yeah, next time we get together, we definitely need to do those.
Yeah, we'll do that.
How's this look with his head blown off? Look here.
Looks nice and violent.
Good.
Mark asks, John, do you like Jonathan Hickman?
The writer, I don't read comics really anymore. I don't collect them for various reasons, mostly part financial and part like I just don't give a fuck about what's going on. And part of me not giving a fuck was Jonathan Hickman. I
Uh-oh.
think I mean, he's good, but like he does these very convoluted stories that maybe I'm just not smart enough to understand.
Probably.
Um, but I know I was reading his Avengers stuff when he first started on Avengers, and it's just like this is like what's going on? Like I didn't quite understand it. But then I read about like what the ultimate goal is, like the stuff he did in Fantastic Four and then Avengers, and like it all kind of comes together and like there's solid ideas. I feel like that's kind of a cool, story, but I just couldn't get into the build up to it.
Yeah.
And now he's doing X-Men. He's doing the Krakoa thing, and our brother D, he was really into these, and I started reading it, and I wasn't. There was some interesting stuff to it for sure. I was kind of like, I was kind of like really, I was kind of interested in it, but I was reading it on my iPad here, like on the app, and I had to go back and forth between like the two different titles, and I was getting kind of lost and confused, so I kind of stopped it. But I borrowed from D, our brother, like the collected edition, big thick book of that X-Men. So I'm gonna read that at some point and see how it goes.
Yeah. Corrupted Animation says, I want more good interior art. I want more good interior art. I haven't picked up a good comic in a while. Yeah, I agree. D-Man says he doesn't care about Jim Lee, whether he's at DC or not. D-Man also says, hot take, Silvestri does DC characters better than Jim Lee. I'd probably agree. Rad Young says, hey, hey. Corrupted Animation says, I do a lot of drawing now, and I'm starting to really like drawing backgrounds. You have to love the process of making comics, and it is fun now. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you gotta love what you're doing and get to slog through the boring, hard shit.
Yeah.
Mark,
Can I hire you to do my backgrounds? Because
right.
I'm a hack and I hate backgrounds so bad.
Mark says he agrees it's too convoluted and complicated. I don't want to feel like I'm doing homework when I'm reading comics.
Right.
He even says, I hate how he has to add infographics to everything. They aren't even good infographics. I assume he's talking about Hickman.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of it's kind of like in the collected edition of Watchmen where they have like a lot of like in between the chapters some stuff to read, and I just like I'm not gonna fucking read this right now. It's on that kind of level where you're like, what am I looking at here and why do I have to read this? Is this important? Gives me a headache.
Yeah. Corrupted Animation, talking about artists we like. I always like Jeff Darrow. He would say he's a bad artist, so he just adds detail until it looks good. Well, he's not a bad artist, even if he thinks he is himself. We're all a little bit kind of, like we all rag on ourselves, but he's amazing. And yes, he does add detail. Holy Lord, does he add detail? But I know so little of his work. I mean, I did that Hard Boiled comic. I don't know if you saw my review on that. That everyone was so hyped up on for so long, and I finally got to read it because it's a Frank Miller written. I'm like, this story sucked ass.
Yeah.
I didn't like it at all. Like, I get what they were going, and I can see why people do like it, but for me, I'm like, absolutely not. Artistically, unbelievable. Like, it's impossible that somebody does this by hand, and yet there he is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, people love this story. I mean, it's hyper violent and it's weird, but I feel like people like it because of the art, not the story.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I don't think I've ever read anything of his.
that could be just me projecting. But again, Frank Miller wrote that thing, and so once I knew if Frank Miller wrote it, I'm like, oh God, I can't stand this thing. And I like a lot of Frank Miller stuff. Don't get me wrong, but that thing I did not.
Mm.
But the art made it worth it. Mr. D Man says, "Yeah, boy, Zach reads Marvel, so we don't have to." I don't actually like that guy, D Man. I don't know if you're a fan of his. Yeah, boy, Zach. I think he's kind of a punk. I don't like him at all.
Who? Wait, what?
This YouTube guy, and anybody that refers to themselves as "ya boy," spelled BOI, I instantly think they're a chucklehead. But I don't like that guy at all.
I have no idea.
Oh, he's not worth digging into. Well, I mean, I saw a video one time where he was complaining about a comic that he didn't like because the way that the artists were drawing the women, they didn't have big enough tits anymore. And I'm like, I like huge tits too. But if the complaint is that the female figure that they've drawn, which is still a beautiful, sexy comic book figure, but she's got smaller chest size.
Yeah.
I'm like, if that's your sticking point, then I got nothing to say to you about it. Like, don't get me wrong, I like hot girls, I do figure drawing, I like huge boobies too, but that's your complaining point. That's just an example. So
yeah, I
I
don't. In kind of the same vein, there's that trailer for the the animated X-Men, the X-Men '97. You know, like picking up where the original X-Men animated series left off. You know, and I saw some posts on Facebook, and they did like 2 screenshots from the original of Rogue
yeah,
and
I know what
Rogue,
you're about. Yes.
where in the original, like she's curvy and she looks hot, and then they took this screenshot where she's the animation, she just is a little bit more flat, I guess. Like, oh look, they're ruining the character and they're doing this and this to it, and I was like, until I see the show and see how she's consistently animated. Because I think Rogue can be like voluptuous and hot and sexy and all that. And if they downplay that some, it's going to be a little annoying. I mean, it's a cartoon, so I'm not going to be too upset. But, I took a random screenshot from a random episode and where like Rogue didn't look flattering at all. I'm like, see, like if this guy just takes this is how you present it. Like this screenshot, she looks really hot. Yeah, you found the one where she's hot. This screenshot, she looks really dull because you found one where she's dull. I could find one from the original series where she looks kind of like a little atrocious, and I'm like, look, it happened back then too.
Yeah, it's just a meme, where they found that shot of her ass sticking out with Apocalypse in the background. It was a big, thick ass, but like that's not it was always portrayed.
Yeah. Yeah, you're totally right. And some people, it was so funny. Someone mentioned for the screenshot I put up, like, oh, that was probably from when they like outsourced the animation to someone overseas. Like they got different animators, which was like later in like the 4th season. I'm like, no, this was from the 2nd episode.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I love that X-Men '97, like the original X-Men animated series. I loved it so much growing up.
We should do some commentary on that. Like, just start with the opening.
Oh yeah.
What's it called? Night of the Sentinels.
Night of the Sentinels. Yeah, because that was my first exposure to the Phoenix storyline. Honestly, like the Phoenix and the Dark Phoenix, I had never known what it was, and I remember sitting watching it, especially the Dark Phoenix, especially where they're fighting the Imperial Guard, and you were telling me everything that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like they had stayed so close to the source material. It was Rogue fighting Gladiator instead of Colossus. But you're like, oh my God, they're going to fight here, and the thing is going to topple over, and Gladiator is going to come up, and he's going to be holding her like unconscious body, and like that's exactly what happened. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah, I remember that. That was kind of fun.
And that music, I mean, it is a thing. People love that fucking X-Men animated music, and
If they could just incorporate that theme into like the movie, it's like
yeah.
put it in there. You got half your audience right there, boom, showing up.
Hmm.
So,
I had rewatched. It was a few months ago. I think while I was home with JD, so it was like a year ago. But I'd rewatched all like the Batman animated series, and
yeah,
that show is so good.
yeah. I
There's
haven't
so many.
long
Yeah,
time. I will say, whenever anyone mentions Batman the Animated Series, my brain just instantly goes to. I don't know if you agree with me. I think you probably might disagree with me, but I'm like, Mask of the Phantasm is not that great.
it is so good.
It is good, but
I
whenever
love it.
list best Batman movies ever, they're like, it's Mask of the Phantom. It's the best Batman movie ever made. I'm like, no, the fuck, it isn't. Like,
I
it's a good animated movie from the cartoon with amazing music. And for me, that's it. That's like, it's fine. I like it, but I'm like, I do not hold it in that big of a reverence, personally.
um I really like it. I'm not going to say it's the best Batman movie that's come out in the theater. Um but it's better than a lot of them for me. And the storytelling, how it was and how it did flashbacks, and yes, it does have amazing music. It could have done more with the Phantasm character itself, and just kind of turn it to like a Joker shit at the end.
Yeah,
Especially when it's flying around on this weird rocket jetpack thing.
yeah,
But there's some moments like the flashback where he was going to give up being Batman because he was in love with this girl, but then she left, and so he decided he was going to be Batman. And a lot of it has to do with the music, but where he decided to like take up that mantle, and he took the cowl, and just that moment was, I think, very well done. And I felt like the emotional weight of what he was going through, where he thought he was going to be happy, but no, he doesn't get to, and he has to do this like life of service.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I don't disagree with you on any one particular point. It's all really good. It's not the best for me. It's a great animated movie, and it's quality. But I'm like, I will watch the Keaton stuff. I will watch the Bale stuff. I'll even watch the Pattinson stuff. If you plop them down and choose between Phantasm or this, I will always choose the other stuff. Now you put down Batman and Robin by Schumacher. Eh,
Hmm.
all right, let's watch some Phantasm. You know,
Yeah, I mean, the Bale. So I don't like Batman Begins as much as most people. Like, I love Dark Knight, right? Like, it's probably top 3 of my favorite comic book movies, probably top 10 of favorite movies of all time, right? It's so good, but people are talking about how good Batman Begins is, and it's not a bad movie. I don't dislike it. I'm kind of in the same camp with you with Batman Begins as you are with Mask of the Phantasm,
yeah,
where it's good. I get why people like it, but I'm like, some people are like, "Oh, it's better than Dark Knight, and it's better than this." I'm like, "Yeah, I find it kind of boring at times."
yeah.
And that voice of his.
He didn't stand out to me as a problem until the later movies. In the first one, I thought it worked just fine. Like he's trying to change his voice so people can't identify him and growl like a monster. Like I get it, but and what
Uh,
about Dark Knight Rises? D-Man's asking because that one's kind
right.
of controversial-ish.
I don't think I dislike it as much as others. There's a lot of stuff about it that I do like. I mean, you can make fun of Bane's voice, but I did like Bane. And there's some moments in the movie like, why did Batman take the time to go make a symbol burning in the building when like there's a nuclear bomb that's going to about to go off in just an hour or so? And the fact that Batman gave up being Batman, at the beginning of the movie, like that was stupid.
I agree that Batman wouldn't do that, but I felt like it worked for that version of that character.
Which part? The leaving?
Him deciding to give it up. Like that version, the way that particular version of Batman was built, I understand it, but realistically, Batman would not quit. But I kind of like they wanted to wrap up that movie series and not just have it like all the rest of them. Like he just keeps going infinitely, and we never see a wrap up to it. And they kind of gave us a wrap up to it, so
Yeah.
I was kind of fine with it. I do
But
get.
but how long was he Batman? Like from Batman to Batman from Begins to Dark Knight when he like gave up? Like how long was that? You know, he like because when he came back, like you have no cartilage in your knee or something like that. You're all fucked up. You can barely move from all the fighting you've done. I'm like, yeah, it was only like a year or two he did that.
Well, yeah. Batman Begins, and then the Dark Knight was like in the same year, and then the Dark Knight Rises was 8 years later.
Right.
So
But he stopped being Batman for that 8 years.
no, I know. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
You know what I get? Okay. I'm
yeah.
like, so those are like nitpicky things. I'm like, that's stupid. But I really like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman.
Yeah, she. It's a shame we didn't get to see more of that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I'm done with my page here, and I have no energy to start
Yeah,
up anything
no,
new.
I get you. We have been going 2.5 hours, so I get you. We can call it a night. It is 12:30.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you were able to jump on since Jessica had to bail on us. I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta find somebody. Mark Domowitz, if you're still in there, buddy, are you? Would you ever want to do one of these? Because you were my next one. I was going to ask if my brother wasn't available. Um, I think that would be fun, Mark. If you're still in the chat, and if that interests you, and you have the ability, um, that I think that would be awesome, dude. We should do it sometime.
He's like, nah.
Like, fuck you, man. I got to put up with your shit anyway. But yeah, Johnny, thanks for taking the time. Tell them Mrs. Rob appreciates you you know, getting loaned out to me for a bit.
Yeah. She was like, "Oh, I'm so like I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing this thing with Rob." She's like, "Oh yeah, that's right."
Oh, fuck you guys, right?
Mhm. Oh yeah. Well, I don't think I have any time and energy to start talking about Superman Returns.
Yeah, get started on that. I know. I'll just add this one thing. It's better than Man of Steel.
I disagree.
I just
I,
I can't get over that Man of Steel. The more I think about it, the more I hate it.
the more I watch, like at first I was like, this Man of Steel sucks. Like it's too much, like all the things that you think. But I watched it a couple more times, and like the more I watched it, I was able to accept it for what it is and what it
Yeah,
was able to do as opposed to some of these other Superman movies, you know? And
yeah.
I was like, these are things that I do like about it. So
I'm not saying there's nothing to like.
that's another conversation we'll have later.
Yeah, I just like I love the actor, uh, Cavill, right,
Yeah. Hmm.
and all that. But yeah, anyway, that's a whole other thing.
All right. Well, I'll be signing off.
All right, my brother, I'm gonna bag it too. I gotta put my shit away. I'm gonna go to bed. Gotta tug one out before I go to sleep.
Yeah, we didn't need it. We didn't need that.
No, needed to know
All
that.
right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure you unsubscribe from Rob's channel and sign up for mine.
Definitely do exactly that.
Yes. What's up with He-Man's hair there?
He's getting blown up as they're teleporting. They're all like jumping in the air and
Wow. Like a big summer blowout.
right. I don't know what that is, but exactly.
It's from Frozen. Okay. See you, everyone. Bye.
See you, Johnny.
Oh, I will be watching, so you can't say any shit about me after I leave.
Oh, I'm going to talk some mad shit. Oh, thank God he's gone. All right, everybody. It's been 2.5 hours, so thank you very much as always. But I've had enough too. All right, guys. Catch you later.